that the true number, of 1 million people is somewhat arbitrary in a sense, because if it's, 1,000,010, or if it's, 20 people shy, it doesn't really impact the research so much. But essentially,
So,
the
Sherilyn, you're saying I'm not that special.
no, you're very special. You're very special, and you're even more special to us here at the VA because you are a veteran. Thank you for your service, and you've enrolled here with us. In fact, you mentioned earlier that the team you had met at the breakfast is actually the team that we have here today, including our very own Joyce, who was probably the one who helped you to fill out your card.
How
So that's
wild is
really
that?
wonderful. Yeah.
Joyce, I
Yeah.
mean, how do you get to see that very often where a veteran actually takes the stuff and processes it and it works? You get to see that very often?
We do, yeah, but it's always, just as enjoyable and special and exciting nonetheless. And we do a lot of tabling events in the lobbies of the VA facilities, as well as attending other outreach events. We've gone to, job expos and different sort of veteran events really all around the state. And it's always, a pleasure to be able to collect contact cards and then see those veterans that we talk to go through and enroll with the program like yourself. So like Sherry said, it's very exciting, and we're really thankful to get to chat with you tonight.
Awesome. Mike, you got any questions for the ladies?
I know when I came in,
Okay.
what surprised me was the $20.
I don't know if I got any money. I think I don't know if I got any money. I know that because they extracted my blood, which was traumatic because I hate shots. But you had like snacks, like hey, I'm gonna stick you. I'm gonna take your blood. Like all these cool snacks for you. I'm like, okay, I can deal. And they were good snacks too. So I was pretty happy about that. But from the time I met you all in the community until I went to Jamaica Plain, Brockton wasn't fully active at the time. It was still an easy process, and even getting online, because I got an online portal where I kind of track my progress. It just seemed like there was a lot of thought putting into the veteran experience. This wasn't supposed to be an imposition to the veteran. You come, you fill out the information, you give up the genetic data, and then we want to kind of keep in touch with you about what you're doing. Is there a purpose behind that continued relationship with the veterans who participate?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously we want to continue relationships with everybody who participates. We really want to stay in touch with you for 10 years or more after you decide to enroll, so that we can learn about your experiences as you have them, right? And so if you were to get sick 3 or 4 years from now, we would want to know about that through your electronic health records. Also, if you stay wonderfully healthy, into your later years, we also want to know about that, because successful aging is something that we're very interested in, and understanding why some people are so good at it, right? We've all known that person who has lived into very advanced age and is very healthy, and it's wonderful. We want to find out why, so that more people can follow that same path. So we love that you are following along with your progress in your digital portal. It is a fully digital study, and our clinic coordinators like Meredith and Joyce spend a lot of time working with veterans to help them to complete the digital process if they need a little coaching, or to just stand by and take blood samples if that's all that the veteran needs from us. So we're thrilled.
One question, I can't remember this, and I'm not going to log into My Healthy Vet now, but does this interact with My Healthy Vet or my current VA care records, or is this completely separate? Because I think I asked that question and I wasn't really sure, and maybe I didn't follow up. But tell me about that. Is this all commingled with my whole VA profile, or is this truly a separate program?
I can take that one again, I guess. It's truly a separate program. So we're entirely research. We're entirely a research program, entirely a research database. The information that you provide to all of us doesn't commingle with your VA records or your VA healthcare or have any impact on your VA benefits or your standing with the VA. So you get our invitation and you say, no, this isn't for me. It doesn't have any impact on the care that you receive or what's noted in your file at the VA. It's 100% research.
I want to go down the data hole because it's a spiraling, like, my little, Alice in Wonderland here. You get all this data. How's it being parsed? I mean, you have your outliers, right? The people that are being really, really healthy and the people that maybe aren't doing so well. That's pretty obvious, but there has to be other data points that you are looking for. And with a sample size of 1 million across many different demographics in the veteran community, it's got to give you some really insightful data about what the condition of not that veterans are average, but the average American veteran is.
Yeah, I mean, and we're definitely interested in veterans' health and those veterans, but we're also interested in everyone in the United States. So I think that's one of the beauties of this program. We have a researcher data portal, and you can go look at it. It's at researchallofus.org. Anyone can go and look at it. You can't access individual level data on it unless you're a bona fide researcher and you apply and take a little training and get an account. But there's a surface level sort of conglomerate data that anyone can look at. And that portal has been live for a couple of years now. And one of the really cool things about all of us is that anytime you want, you can go to that portal and you can see a list of all the research studies that are happening in all of us at this time. So right now there are 12,000. I'm sorry, what was that?
What? So again, like,
when people come in to worried about their privacy and such.
Yeah, in fact, that's one of the most common questions we get. So Joyce or Meredith, do you guys want to address that one?
Yeah, I think that definitely is probably the biggest hesitancy that we see, which we highlight in all of our consents too, just to remind people that, of course, in today's age, privacy is never a zero risk just because everything's online. But the program works really hard to keep it as low a risk as possible. But we also do talk about this in the clinic. I know me and Joyce are always so open to veterans just kind of talking about their concerns. And when it is privacy, we go over the program, what you'd be sharing. We also go over that there are aspects that you can share. You can, not share certain things and still complete surveys. So there are options for doing different tasks in the program with what you're comfortable with. So I think our biggest thing is if you do have hesitancy about privacy, it's still really helpful to go through and look at the consents and get as much info as possible, or just come into the clinic or call me or Joyce and we can talk you through any of those hesitancies for sure.
Gotcha. So this is a nationwide program, right?
Mm-hmm.
How am I trying to say this? You're primarily in the New England area where it's a large population concentration versus other parts of the country. Do you see
We're actually all over sorry to interrupt. We're actually all over the country. So we are at 19 different VA medical centers across the country. So we are very active within VA Boston, but we're also open right now in VA Maine, and we're open in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and we're open in Seattle, where we're really sprinkled out across the country because we're doing our best to reach all veterans, right? Really, and all interested veterans. So one of the ways we do that is by being engaged in a number of different medical centers across the country.
Yeah, let me rephrase. I guess what I'm trying to say is like the Boston VA system has a lot of veterans here by virtue of being Massachusetts. How is the participation in population centers where there aren't as many people / veterans? Is it about the same across the board, or is it just a matter of the sample size is the sample size?
That's a really good and interesting question. There are a lot of veterans here at VA Boston, and there's a lot of research, obviously, in Boston and in New England. So much research, and a lot of people are routinely invited to participate in research. So we do have quite a number of participants here in the Boston area, in all of us, and that's really wonderful. But sometimes we find when we're in smaller cities or smaller markets, for example, Albuquerque, New Mexico, um, there's not as much research happening in Albuquerque. And so we actually find that while there's a smaller population of users of the VA there, that the people we talk to are really excited about research and they're really excited about participating in it because they maybe don't always get the chance, right? They don't always get asked. So while we do recruit and enroll fewer veterans in some of those smaller cities, there a lot of times the enthusiasm is very high. So it's really an interesting um, thing to experience to have a view into all of these different locations across the country.
So Meredith and Joyce, if I remember right, Joyce, you were in the front lines. You were on the ground. You got anybody from a Vietnam era veteran, Korean War veteran to a guy like me, or somebody who's served in OEF and IEF. Do you get different types of questions or reluctance, or is it because for me, I'm like, okay, this is kind of strange, and it's my genetic data, but I'm like, wait a minute, this is like science fiction cool. Yeah, I'm in. So, I mean, what kind of questions do you get about this program from vets like me?
Yeah, we definitely get quite a wide range of questions from different different veterans of different backgrounds, and I think one of our favorite aspects of the job is that we do see veterans from all ages and decades. From those that maybe just got back from serving, from people we've had a few World War II veterans, and it's I think one of the most amazing parts is getting to talk with veterans who have so many unique experiences and therefore offer different questions and have different levels of comfort and knowledge and interest and research for sure. Um, we also have the chance for veterans to start the enrollment process at home online prior to coming in. And with that, veterans can actually fully enroll remotely, which is also a really cool and unique part of our program and something that we've been encouraging, especially as the program is of course only in some states across the country. We're not everywhere, so it's great to have that opportunity to enroll veterans remotely as well and support them with that over the phone.
Just one thing I want to clarify, in my portal, I have, my snapshot of Travis, me, right? But if I remember correctly, last time I was on there was kind of like a summary of the information being researched. Is that truly available to every veteran, or is it still for the Research All of Us portal that we get kind of like the macro view of the data?
So in your particular, like your personal portal, when you log in online, you can see what we call comparative insights,
Okay.
which will show how your answers to survey questions that you provided sort of compare to everyone else. And so it's really it's pretty high level, right? But you'll see some interesting graphics that show how maybe you are more like people than you thought, right? Or maybe you're not, and that's interesting too. Um, but there's a little bit more granular data at researchallofus.org in the data browser, where you can really slice and dice a little and get a little bit more granular level report back and sort of see like broad age ranges
Yeah.
or men versus women, all kinds of different sort of breakdowns of those responses.
What are veterans most, because I got pretty excited because of the sci-fi angle, but what I got to figure that you run into all different types of people who get excited and engaged for different reasons. Is there like a common reason why people say, yes, I want to do this? Or is it just, oh, this is cool, I'm going to do it anyway?
Honestly, one of the biggest reasons we get is to help others. Like me and Joyce probably hear it at least once a day in the clinic, just people coming in when they learn about the program and they just say, wow, this seems like it could really help people, whether it be veterans or just Americans overall. And that's always just such a cool reason to hear. I mean, they're also just excited to share their story most of the time. I've had people say to me like, oh, well, I have, a lot of health issues. Maybe I'm not right for the program. And I was like, no, everyone's, stories are really helpful to the program, whether you're healthy, like Sherry said, whether you're healthy or whether, you are going through health issues. So I think just overall, me and Joyce get to hear every day just that people really want to be involved to hopefully help more and more in the future and help, fellow veterans or just Americans overall.
Well, I mean, when I went through, I was asked that same question, like, why are you here? What caused you? I said, well, with the onset of AI and machine learning, what if my, contribution, one as it is, allows for better treatment of people, down the road. And, a primary care is going to be able to make better decisions based on, the sum of all the information gathered. And that was after the cool factor, because again, I thought the VA is really being like cool. I mean, and it's like sci-fi. I get to live, and I get this cool little pen, so I'm in. But then I thought about the aspect of for so long you had to wait years to understand diseases and drug efficacy and clinical trials and modalities, and maybe this information will shorten that window. So that's kind of my feeling about it. It was going to a clinic though, and I was like, well, we may give you a shot or extract your blood, which I'm like, okay, I'm not really wild about that. But do us veterans have any kind of other hesitations about going and enrolling the program that you find, or once we're over the hump, we're in and everything's good?
Yeah, I mean, I think we get some hesitancy with coming into medical centers if it's someone who is
Yes.
a little more, yeah, and understandable. Medical centers are definitely a place where some people might also just have, negative experiences, from health issues and stuff like that, or they just might not be comfortable in those settings. So I know me and Joyce and the rest of our team work really hard to, promote remote options if people aren't comfortable with that, but also just let them know that when they come in, there's no pressure to finish everything at once if they can only be in the medical center for a little bit of time. We make sure that they understand that, there are options for saliva if they are really uncomfortable with blood draws. We try to just make it as painless as possible, and also just try to make it just an environment where they can just talk with us, which I think can be really helpful, where, a lot of times you go into a medical center and you got to talk about so much serious stuff, and me and Joyce just try to make it an environment where we can joke around, we can make sure they go through the research parts of it, but also make sure they know that we're there to listen to them, especially if they have stuff they want to talk about and share.
Well, I mean, that was an observation I want to share with you, Meredith, is, I talked to you all for much longer than I talked to my primary care. My average primary care appointment in the VA is about 12 minutes. That's it. Whereas you all were like, hey, tell me about yourself. How's it like getting up in the morning? What do you like to eat? Really? You really like that? Well, tell me more. That hurts? Why does it hurt? How is your... And I'm like, dang, they might actually care about me. Wow, what is this? And then the snacks were key. The snacks is what got me calmed down. I'm like, okay, you want to extract my, biomass from me? Go right ahead. I mean, I'm sitting here, Tootsie Rolls are good. Butterfingers are even better. I'll deal. But, the reason I get so excited about this is on many levels. I don't want to share it all here and bore you all, but, the VA has had a very positive effect in my overall healthcare. And a lot of times I think the VA gets a bad rap, and no one ever tells the good stories about the VA or what the VA is doing. And I really felt like and because you guys gave a lot of stuff for me to read, like the information was just, everything was organized. Here's the information, you make the decision, right? Good, and more good. And I just think it's important to be able to tell this story and what you all do, so other veterans and other Americans can benefit from the work you're all doing. And it's just really cool to see the VA kind of engage this way.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We're thrilled to be a part of it at the VA and to really bring this opportunity to participate to veterans. And I don't want to speak for Joyce and Meredith, they can say this for themselves, but we do have a lot of staff across the country that work one-on-one with veterans every day. And uniformly, what I hear from all of our staff is that the biggest perk of their job is meeting veterans and hearing their stories. It's
Cool.
really, it can be a grueling job, right? You're working hard in the clinic every day. You're talking to people, but it's really those stories that keep them up, right? That make them feel good and happy with their day. And you guys can say, but you've told me yourselves, you learn so much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned so much. And I learned from this. I learned from you all, and I know that my brothers and sisters can sometimes be like little kids trying to get them to go in the right direction. And hats off to you, ladies, because we can be ornery when we want to be. But I guess winding this down, and time is flying, we're having fun. Is there a next phase to this project? Is there a next phase to? Are you going to get to in the collection phase and then start normalizing and really going through the data, or is it happening in parallel?
It's really happening in parallel. So there are about 700,000 people in all of us right now. And we're about to head into another data release into the research portal to sort of up the number of people who have data in the research portal. But like I said previously, there's 12,000 research studies already happening in the All of Us research data portal. 12,000, right? And we haven't even gotten to the million yet, right? So it's really happening all at the same time. I think that one of the things that we here at the VA will be working on this next year is trying to reach more veterans. So we do have these physical locations across the country, but not everybody lives there, right? So we really want to try to provide an opportunity for veterans who live anywhere in the United States to enroll. And they can do that by enrolling online. We can help out over the phone. And then they can provide a saliva sample of the program if they'd like to through the mail. So that's one of the pathways that we're really working on over the course of this year. And we'll be growing and developing that to try to reach more people.
You all kind of touched on this, but it's not. Everybody works for a certain goal, certain objective to make money, whatever. But it seems like what you're all doing, and one of the reasons I really got connected with it is the work you're all doing now, every day, is going to have effects decades from now. What's it like getting up, going to work, realizing that veteran you talked to today, that information may have an effect on somebody 35 years from now? And that's not being, it's not hyperbole or exaggeration. That's not science fiction, it's science fact. What's that like for you ladies? All three of you, one at a time.
I would say it's a privilege to get to know that, right? That the work you're doing, is one, beneficial for what it is in the moment, getting to, experience being with veterans, meeting veterans, hearing their stories, learning from them. And all of that in the moment is so beneficial and wonderful. And then that added layer, as you mentioned, of knowing that, the work we're doing now, this database we're creating is going to continue to be used hopefully for decades and decades to come and lead to lots of, new discoveries about health and genetics and how environmental factors and genetic factors and everything under the sun can affect our health. And yeah, it's truly a privilege, and it's definitely, when you take a step back and think about it, what we're doing, the work we're doing, it's really exciting. And I also think, as we've all touched on, it is a key motivational piece for so many veterans enrolling as well, just knowing that this is going to help my grandkids and this is going to help people in the future. So it's very exciting.
Meredith?
Yeah, definitely agree. I mean, we go into the clinic every day. Sometimes we see only one person. Sometimes we see up to like 6 people. And it is wild to think that me and Joyce, who have been in the clinic for over 2 years, like the amount of veterans, or about 2 years, the amount of veterans we've enrolled could make such a big difference. And yeah, I mean, it helps, especially when we're going through everything with people, just to remember that all this info is going towards something just so much, with so much potential and so much results that can come out just so far into the future.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'll just add that really, that's what brings it. You're right. That's what brings us to work every day, right? That's why we're part of why we're here. This is a transformative research project, right? Our goal is to really accelerate research so that we can get to that next generation of cures, those more personalized cures, faster, right? And that's really what gets us out of bed in the morning and gets us talking to people about the program and telling them more about it, so that they can decide if they want to join and participate. So it really is a privilege, and it is a wonderful feeling to get to work with amazing people like the veterans that we meet, and B, know that you're helping them to contribute to this mission. So it's wonderful.
had a thought. It might seem strange, but I actually had a thought. Is there has to be a research part of this that goes and breaks this down by branch. I mean, think about it. All kidding aside, the Air Force veterans is going to have different, Michael will agree with me, wear and tear than an Army veteran or a Marine Corps veteran by virtue of what we do, right? If you're sitting there working on a plane,
Absolutely.
in, air conditioned environment your entire career versus, being in the swamps and in the mud and in the dirt, there's going to be different stuff. I mean, is there an idea to kind of break this down? I mean, and then going form follows function. If you break it down by service, you can start breaking it down by MOS if you capture that data point. I'm just thinking here.
Yeah, so we haven't actually asked people about their branch of service, and all of us, we do ask about service in general, and a few questions about that, but not about particular branch of the military. However, at some point in this next year, we sort of continuously add additional surveys. That's how we keep in touch with people over the course of the program. This next year, we're hoping to add in a survey that is about environmental exposures. That will contain some questions that are pertinent to military service that I think will get at a few of those types of things that you bring up about the environment in which you served and the things that you might have been exposed to, which we certainly do find to be an important part of research. And I see in the chat that people are asking about the link to join. If you are interested, the link to join is actually veterans.joinallofus.org. The link to look at the research that's happening is researchallofus.org. So
veterans.
There we go. Joinallofus.org.
I put both of those in the little chat as well.
Oh, thank you.
The little private chat. I'm not
We'll
sure.
definitely add them to afterwards.
Great.
Awesome. Well, Michael, do you have any other questions? Because I could go down this road with them all night long. There's just so many things to ask and talk about, but I'm mindful of time, and I really appreciate you all's participation. But Michael, do you have anything?
Well, just, with Travis being so excited, what are other veterans excited about when they come through and get a part of this? Like, he's excited about the data. Like, what else are folks, really excited about when they come in and become part of this?
So why are people like me excited about joining? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, and sort of in addition to the research and the data, you're sort of talking other reasons besides that. I would say, a major one, and I know we've touched on it a bit, is just sharing our stories and life experiences and getting to just, chat and learn. And it's really cool to even see the camaraderie among the veterans that will come in at the same time, and sort of have their own, bonding experiences, and maybe they're in different branches, so they're sort of poking jokes at one another and calling each other different nicknames that we always find entertaining, and just sort of a happy, safe place to land for an hour of your day. And as we've said, it's our favorite part of the job, is just getting to talk with these wonderful veterans and ask them questions and hear their stories. And I think that is a huge piece that people enjoy coming in for as well, just that experience of having that nice quality conversation.
Hang on, you'll appreciate this in a second. I had to get this because this is like a great moment. If I can, here we go. You can see it. Yes, ma'am. I really like this, and I keep it up there, and it's magnetic, so it just holds to my shirt or suit lapel, and every now and then I'll wear it out. And people are like, well, what's the All of Us program? And I get to tell them how I met, Joyce in Martin's in Abington with Adam Gunn, and it's a really good conversation. So I want to show you that I actually kept this. I didn't throw it away, and I really appreciate getting this from the VA.
Good, we're thrilled. We sent those out as part of the campaign for our 5-year anniversary. So we're absolutely thrilled that you have it, that you kept it, and that you wear it from time to time.
Yes, ma'am.
We have them too. So yeah, we're pretty thrilled about participants who are excited about the program and who really enjoy talking about it as well. So it's great.
Well, ladies, please, if you have a major macro update, feel free to come back on and talk with us. I'm the host of Oscar Mike Radio. It's a military veterans podcast I've been running for 8 years, and I've talked to some VA personnel on my show before. Chris Johnston, who was the chief director of the mobile app, My Healthy Vet, he came on and talked with me. It was a very interesting conversation. And again, my goal is, in this case with Michael, is we want to tell people the good things the VA is doing, and that, you hear that people whine and complain sometimes, or maybe there are legitimate gripes. No one's perfect, right? But we want to really profile and highlight the amazing work you all do. So I've got my show here in a couple minutes. I do have to drop, but I just want to say thank you all for coming on. And again, if you're a veteran and you want to leave a lasting legacy and you want to be involved in something bigger than yourself, you have the links in the show post here. Click on it, get signed up. If you're in the Boston area, you might meet Joyce and Meredith. So, it wasn't bad. It was not bad. Snacks were key. Snacks were huge. So I just want to say, ladies, thank you again for coming on, and I really appreciate your time tonight.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having us.
you. It was wonderful to meet you. Thank you.
Mikey, can we send ourselves out? I got to get the all clear, Mike, because you're on the con.